Hello everyone, it's Ryan Parrish with another weekly Sports Roundup. Let's quickly get you caught up on what happened last week in sports. The Tetons basketball teams were on the road last week. On Monday, the men were in western Nebraska where they lost 67 to 106. The women also had their only game of the week on Monday, losing to Northwest College. On Saturday, the men's team traveled to Salt Lake City, Utah, where they lost 69 to 80 to the number 5 school, Salt Lake City Community College. In high school hockey, the Williston boys were also on the road last week, losing early in the week to Dickinson, but then redeeming themselves with a 4-2 victory over Hazen Beulah. The Coyotes girls team was also on the road last week where they suffered some tough losses. On Friday, the team was in Grand Forks where they lost 4-0. And on Saturday, they narrowly lost to Devil's Lake 3-2. The Coyotes basketball season got kicked off last week, with both teams playing Miles City. The girls hosted Miles City and won in a narrow fashion, 62-59. Meanwhile, the boys were on the road and they lost in narrow fashion, losing 65-63. And finally, over the weekend, the Williston Sea Lions swim team had 2 tournaments on Friday and Saturday, one in Bismarck and one in Mandan. Between the 2 tournaments, the Sea Lions 25 swimmers collected 32 first-place finishes and had 50 state qualifying times. In the Bismarck meet, the boys took 2nd place, while the girls took 5th. It's about to be a busy week of sports here in Williston, and I took a moment to talk to the Tetons men's basketball coach, Rylee Hernandez, to see how the team's been doing on the road.
Yeah, we've played a few games on the road. We took 4 games in 6 days against Region 9 opponents, went 2-2 during that span. Dropped one to Western Nebraska, talented team, and Sheridan also receiving votes. Able to pick up some wins against Little Bighorn and Northwest. Then we headed out to Salt Lake, played a tough game against a physical Hillcrest prep team. They got us there at Salt Lake, and then we played Salt Lake, top 5 team in the country, and played them within 11. So that was a good showing. We've just been really banged up, been playing with about 7 guys. So that's been a tough thing for us, but it's allowed some of our freshmen and our newcomers to learn our offense and play through some mistakes that they normally wouldn't.
Who are some people that have been dealing with injuries for you guys?
It's been pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
At some stretch. Dale Rylee, with the exception of Dale Rylee and probably Michael Paulo, everybody else has been banged up, either in the hospital with some medical stuff or in the training room with some physical ailments. So it's been a tough one.
All of them are there any of them very serious, or are they all expected to be?
Well, we got some stuff going on with a couple guys that we'll figure out over Christmas break if they'll be able to continue playing or not. But for the most part, everything has just been tough timing as far as illness and injuries, things that we can come back from, just temporarily take us out of the lineup.
All right. With injuries, and then obviously we talked earlier in the year about a tough non-conference schedule that you guys kind of aim for just to kind of test yourselves. What's some things you found out about your team over this first couple months?
Yeah, we don't have any quitness. We like to fight. We want to continue to fight. I think as a group and as a locker room, we know that there's a bigger picture than trying to change some things up and in the short term to try to get this win or that win, and more focused on getting ready for the conference season, understanding that there are no shortcuts to it. So it's been great to see that, and our guys have been diligent in their work, and I think they genuinely enjoy playing with one another.
All right, you guys have, I think you have military night, and you got a bunch of other cool stuff happening this weekend. What should fans look forward to seeing you guys back to close out kind of the school year, or at least the 2017 year here at home for 3 games?
Yeah, Northwest Military Appreciation Night. Men and women play 3 and 5, and then we've got the hockey team that plays at 7:30 over at the Raymond Center, so that'll be great. Then from there we take on Sheridan, who's an opponent we currently dropped a game to, so it'll be fun to get them at our place, play them at theirs. Tough physical team. And then Miles Community College, who's very similar to our conference opponents. They play a lot of zone, really scrappy, so we dropped one against them earlier this year. It'll be nice to get another opportunity to compete against Miles.
And talk a little bit about, I guess, coming home after such a long road trip, what that means to you guys.
Yeah, it's been a tough stretch, but gotta learn a lot on the road, and we did learn a lot on the road, just about who one another are and what we're really about. When you're out there, it's just those guys in that locker room and the girls at times, and Tim and Kenny G, our radio announcer. So we figure out really quickly that we got to band together and stay together. So that was great. Now it's nice to get back home and realize that, hey, we do have a lot of great support and a lot of people that are fighting for us and fighting with us. So it'll be nice for our guys to see that again the same way that we saw it the first weekend.
All right, now for This Week in Sports. As I told you, it was going to be a busy one. On Thursday, Tetons Athletics is hosting Military Appreciation Night across all 3 of its games, starting with the women's basketball game against Northwestern at 3 o'clock and the men's against Northwestern at 5:30. Anyone who attends the basketball game will get free admittance into the hockey game against Dakota College of Botany at 7:50 at the Raymond Center. And finally, on Thursday, Williston Trinity Christian School will have the girls basketball team hosting Watford City at 5:45. On to Friday, the boys hockey team will be on the road in Mandan, while the girls hockey team will host Fargo's Davies at the Agri Sports Complex at 2 p.m. The Williston Trinity Christian School boys basketball team will have a home game against Kenmare at 7:15. The Coyotes wrestling team will be on the road starting Friday when they travel to Rapid City to compete in a 2-day tournament. And finally, the Tetons basketball team will again have games starting at 6 p.m. when the women play against Sheridan, followed by the men also playing Sheridan at 8 p.m. And finally on Saturday, the action will kick off at 11 a.m. when the Coyotes swim and dive team hosts a tournament And finally on Saturday, the action will kick off at 11 a.m. when the Coyotes swim and dive team. Let's start this one over. And finally, on Saturday, the action will kick off at. I don't like how I said that. And finally, on Saturday, the action will kick off at 11 a.m. when the Coyotes swim and dive team hosts a varsity meet at the Arc starting at 11 a.m. The girls hockey team will host Jamestown at the Agri Sports Complex at 2 p.m., while the boys hockey team will be on the road in Jamestown. In Coyotes basketball, both the boys and girls will be in Turtle Mountain. In Crusaders basketball, the girls will get the action started at 5:45 against White Shield, followed by the boys at 7:15. And last but not least, the Tetons will close out their 3-game set before going into the winter break, this time against Miles City, starting at 4 p.m., the men finishing at 6. That's it for This Week in Sports. I hope you guys all enjoy all the great games that are going to be in town this weekend, and remember, drive safe in the snow. I'll see you next week.